Hey, it's Joe, and this is my next project.
All right, moving right along on a little Zen Coupe here. This is the windshield frame that we're going to use. It's the back hatch off of the Bug. It's 42 inches wide, and we're going to walk over here in a second and show how wide is the car right now. Is 60 inches wide, so it looks to me like we've got 18 inches to get rid of. So we divide that. We've got 9 inches on each side that we're going to bend this car in. Therefore, we have to cut the floorboard as well as other parts. This is the bend point. There's a hidden hinge in here, which is the center point of the bend. And from the center point of the bend out, it gets wider and wider and wider until it gets to about 9 inches right about under the windshield. And we measure that on both sides. We have to have a little flange. We're going to have to grind some of the paint off. Anyway, that's what we're going to show you in this video as it goes along. And this guy's going to mark it in chalk. Now, we're not just going to cut this piece of pizza triangle out of the floor and butt joint the two pieces together. See the big hole? We're kind of going out from the big hole. But like I said, we're not going to just butt joint these things together. So there kind of has to have a flange there to where this part can sit on top of this part. So it needs a flange right about here and a flange here. One to go on top and one to go on bottom. There's the one that goes on top. We're just approximating this right now for your viewing pleasure, and we will measure it more precisely further in the video. This one also has to have a little flange. I don't know what the little pointing things were. And then we grind all the paint off, get it nice and clean. The hinge is right along here, straight down. Watch this. You can follow it with a stick all the way down to that corner. And here. Hinge. Hinge. Then it changes levels. We're going to cut this and come out, and we're going to cut all this through here. Okay, and we're going to jump right into cutting this. And just watch how this is cut. If it's not on the correct plane, that's going to be the bend point. We have to stop. Our job is not to cut the door off of the car and have to replace the whole door. It is just to cut all the parts that don't line up. See that part at the bottom? Don't cut that. That's going to be part of the bend. And that part will bend, and we'll replace all the little parts where we have cut and sturdy that back up. Now this, I'm cutting with one hand and filming with the other, and the camera got off kilter. I'm making an initial cut. And then in this next, there we go. And then I'm going to cut it again with the Sawzall, but I'm not going to cut it off at this time. All I'm doing is cutting down to the bend point where when that door frame rotates around the bend point, the little hinge, the bending hinge part, it'll be able to bend, and the goal is not to mess up the door jamb, where the door gasket fits the door, all that needs to stay intact, and we're taking exceptional trouble to make sure it doesn't go bad. The door hinge is going to bend with the door, and you'll see there how we cut around the door hinge, and the part to the right of where I'm cutting there is going to stay stationary, and the part to the left is going to bend in with the door and the door frame. And we're cutting all that door frame off later. All I'm leaving the door frame on there is to keep that door jamb intact where it will seal. And some of those you have to get in there very deep, and we've cut off, as you'll see later on, we've cut several layers, and then you have to bend the top layer out, cut down in the second layer, and bend it out or take it out and cut down in the third layer. And you know, this is metal, so I broke out my wood chisel and I am hammering the crap out of it, because there's just a place in there that I couldn't get to, and wood chisel's all I had at the time, and it worked really well. Okay, underneath we're going to grind off all this undercoating, really good undercoating, and it wasn't too sticky or gumming. We're using 30 grit floppy disk there, and I don't know if you saw it in the video if we showed it, but I've got a big fan there that blows wind about 100 miles an hour. I had a mask on, I had glasses on, and get under there. This is the this is the right hand side of the car now, and we're going to grind all that off. That's where I ground it. This is the cut point, bend point, and then we're going to show you how to cut and how we marked and cut this. That's the lower door hinge and the lower fender mount. I really shredded these lower fender mounts on both of these. You'll see in the video. I should not have cut those off. However, I just wanted to look back there to make sure there wasn't something that was going to hang up and stop me from bending this. We shot a lot of video on this, and we have a lot more explanation than this. And it'll be shown in another video. Just all the video we shot will eventually be out where you can see it. Now check this out. If you play with fire, you're going to get burned. What if you play with one of these discs? It happens. That was not the off button. Now, this stuff on the floor, this is kind of a, I don't know if it's sound deadening or rust retardant or what it was. It was tar. That's what it is. And it was, I don't think you could have got it off with a scraper, but check this out. With this flat bladed air chisel, and it came off like cracking ice. Every now and then, things work out just the way you want. Now, a certain portion of this floorboard up near the bend point, it's 2 layers thick. It's only about 1/4 inch thick, and you can stick the hacksaw blade in there, and you can see how far down it goes, and you can mark it. It's a very small place in there, and that'll have to be cut and peeled back. But there's really not much to it. Okay, then we're going to mark it on this side also. That's as big as the 2 layers were, and that's about all we're cutting. And then when I had this yellow ruler that's about 1.5 inches thick, and I put it up against the inside rocker there. That's where I marked it. course, I forgot my marker, and there it is. You can see it in the picture. I walked all the way around and got it, and here I am back. The big hole. And I know a lot of this stuff seems redundant, but I just want you to be able to see it and understand it. Sometimes I watch these videos on YouTube and stuff flies by so quick and they think they've explained it and they have not. And I just want more. So I'd rather include more and have you sit through it than have a piece that you don't understand. And then the back that's going to get re-chopped anyway. Now here's our 9 inches or so that we're going to slice out of the car. If you watch where this tape measure goes, the tape measure goes up against the side of the car, and there's a hole there, this side. And you kind of line that up with that hole is about 9 inches. And on the other side, there's a hole on the other side too, but it's not exactly the same. Don't be fooled. I think it's off a little bit. So both holes are not the same. And we're just going to mark this. And then I guess it didn't like the color of the stick, so I got another stick. Got the ruler back. Going up to the big hole. And just marked it from there. And let's cut. You know, as most things in life, preparation is everything. And once you get it all prepared, the cuts don't take very long at all. And some of this I cut with a scissor wheel, the abrasive disc, and some of it would cut with the Sawzall. Just depends on how far you need to reach in there. I like the Sawzall. And we're only going to show one side on this video, but you know, both sides are cut pretty much the same way. And that's it. Out with the old. Well, should bring that jack back. We're going to need that. So, if we're going to bend this in, the inside part on your right is going to go over the outside part on your left, which is the outside of the car. So let's get rid of that tape where when we weld it, we just don't have the tape in between there. Go ahead. All right, here we go. Now watch this on the left-hand side. When we jack it up, it moved in just as planned. Little vice grip on the right, driver's side. Little vice grip on the left. Done deal. You never know if any of this stuff's going to work until you get down to the end, but that was pretty cool. I'm glad it all worked. Now we got another video coming up that'll have a lot more detail in it, and I just want to make sure that all the video that we shot you get to see. Now we made a lot of comments I just want you to be in on the thinking part of all these videos. And here's another thinking part. We run string down both sides of the car to a jack stand in the center. Cool.
I hope you enjoyed watching as much as we enjoyed making it. If you did, tell your friends and subscribe. It's important.